in this new lesson, new lecture on French astrology, especially my form of astrology, I would like to underline the point that this new astrology has to do with sex. As we say, sex and cycle are the basis of the 21st century astrology and mankind in general society. And we cannot disconnect sex and cycle. So, despite the fact that many astrologers in France have given up real prediction, I really believe that prediction is still the major issue for astrology. But it has to be based on quite a new conception of cycles, based on one single cycle, which passes two periods of 3.5 years, which makes a whole cycle of 7 years. One sub-period is based on the idea of Venus. It doesn't mean the planet, but the idea of Venus. Venus having its rulership in a sort of way in this first part, and the second part being the rulership of Mars. Also of 3.5 years. The Venusian, we define the meaning of Venus and of Mars. Venus is a sort of return to the Big Bang, fusion, union. Everything returns to it, like a sort of black hole. There is a center, a unit of very small magnitude. I mean, the whole word, time and space, return to a sort of unity, and the distances become very, very short, very brief, and finally they disappear. So what was far is not far, what was old is not old, everything comes back, returns to its unity. And the V of Venus is also in the old alphabet, the U. V and U are the same letter at origin, and U is unity, Venus, unity. Mars is multiplicity, multiple, like the M. So, there is this Venusian period which is connected with fusion, with unity, with empires, with centers, with the idea, like there was in the Nazi time, Ein Reich, ein Volk, ein Führer, unity. Everything is united. Anything which is against unity is a problem, is a danger. And astrology has to do with indicating, announcing every 7 years a process of unity. A need for finding a center, an axis, a leader, global leader, in a way. And when Saturn has reached conjunction with one of the 4 fixed stars, we call it the Royal stars. It is already known in antiquity, even 5,000 years ago. And then when it has reached its solstice, we could say, it's in analogy with the summer solstice. At the summer solstice, paradoxically, the the day will decline, start to decline. And the winter solstice, the night starts to decline. So when it passes this threshold, we pass to the Martian period of Saturn, and of the Saturn. And that means that the death of the superior male, the superior being, it's the end of the Big Bang and the end of the Babel Tower, and things start to disperse themselves, to go in so many variations and directions. Like after the Babel Tower was destroyed. And it is the killing of the super being, the killing of unity. And this killing of unity is favorable to women. Because in our astrology, women are a dialectic element of essential importance. It's a woman who accepts and recognizes the super being, superior male, dominant male, and is a woman who stops doing that and want to have their own share, want to be independent, want to be useful, want to be active. And that starts after the conjunction, which means that the conjunction, paradoxically, is the beginning of the Martian period and the end of the Venusian period. Conjunction of Saturn, of course. Astrology and women, I don't remember if I said that before, but astrology is not a scientific reality. Astrology is a techno-biological reality, a technical reality, which has been created by special superior civilizations in the past. So, in contradiction with nature, the process of the cycle may be very brutal. We pass suddenly from day to night, from night to day. Even if when I use comparison with nature, with seasons, with the day and night, it's just a comparison. Just because in fact, it doesn't go that way. It's really like when you enter a room and you turn on, and you have the light, and you turn, and you have you stop the light. You know. It's very immediate change. And astrologers have really the necessity to indicate when these changes occur. And if they are not able to do that, they are not useful. If they say things when it has already happened, which is in many cases the case. If you are very careful, you will see that when astrologers speak about something, there's something has already begun. So it's of a very poor use. And well, in life it's very often like that, you know. People repeat things which have been already said before, and they think they are very good. No. It is the first who says things, who mentions something which will happen. In any field of science, of art, of economic, It is the first impact which is important, the first impulse. Astrologers have to stick to this necessity of giving the first impact. Otherwise, they just, follow the lead, what has already been produced, and is of no interest. Every 3 years and a half, astrologers are the role, the function of announcing the change, the movement of the process, going Venus, going Mars. If they fail to do that, they are not worth existing. And they have to say when Mars is coming, which is the rise of women, the rise of multiplicity, vis-à-vis the rise of unicity. In astrology in France, in my school of astrology at least, we give the greatest importance to understanding what is going on with the women and what is going on with the machines in general. What John Gray has written about women coming from Venus and men coming from Mars is not without any interest, of course. It is not enough. And astrology cannot ignore the gender studies. There is a sort of necessary alliance between astrology and studies on genders. You cannot understand one without the other. Because as I said before in a previous lecture in English, I've said that we need a radar to catch the signals in the sky. There are very few signals, because we have very few signals to catch. Only Saturn, only the 4 big stars. It's not very much. But we have to find out where they are. We have to localize them among all these stars, among all the planets, etc. So it's not an easy task. But it's not a matter of conscious action. Astrology exists in our world, even people do not connect themselves to astrology, or ignore totally what's going on in the sky. Doesn't matter. There is something inside of them which will do the work, which will tell them when the signal is formed, is developed, when Saturn has started his ascension towards one of the 4 world stars. And when this signal is captured, then it will create and trigger a great change of behaviours among women. Or that they will stop acting in a certain way when it's Venusian time, or when they will start acting when it's a Martian period. Well, so that's all in the general, but you see what I mean, I suppose. So, the life of women is very cyclical because of that, and it does influence necessarily upon the life of men. Because when women retire, men have more importance, more power. When they want to be active, it is the men who have to limit their power. When we want to defend the code of astrology, we must not situate ourselves on the field of science. I would say even it's more example, to the on the field of art, because technique is also a form of art. I myself, like Dan Rudyard, I am a composer, so I know what it is, artistic creation. And you can listen to my sonatas on Google, if you want to. And the artist, the craftsman, I mean, anybody who works with the material, he just doesn't only study, observe things, but interfere with the work, change the work, not only its conscience, but its reality, adds to the work something new. Like either a piano or a car, it's something which did not exist before. But I have done that by using something of the world, something of some wood, some steel, etc. So the artist uses necessarily something from the nature, but he doesn't have to know exactly what the nature is by itself. He only takes from the nature what he observes, what he is interested in. And he will not be interested in what has no use for him, at least from his point of view, at this time. The problem is about the progress of astrology. Now, many astrologers will believe that astrology has to progress, to integrate new data, new information, especially in astronomy. And I think this is a big mistake. Astrology has been created at a certain moment, and I'm not speaking here about the natal chart, but something like that. It has been created at a certain moment, and that is what it is important. What men wanted to do with astrology at this moment. And this is what we have inside of ourselves, what our ancestors have been doing. Afterwards, what has been added by astronomers is of no interest at all for astrology. And it has not to be integrated within astrology, according to me. No Uranus, no Neptune, and certainly not the poor fellow of Pluto, who has been downgraded recently in 2006. One planet is enough for astrology. It's like, for instance, you would say, well, I have a watch, and there is one hand. Oh, or two hands. Oh, it would be nicer if I could add 5, 6, 7 hands. But 4, I don't need it. Like you have the elections in a certain state. Okay, you are not going to add 2, 3, 4, 5 elections. What for? Maybe the system for this election is not the best, is not optimal, but it exists and it is enough. Okay. The same with the food. We know that our body is a sort of creation also in a certain way. It's a sort of object which is used to work under certain conditions and circumstances. And the food we need is the food that was given to our bodies, of the bodies of our ancestors, thousands and thousands of years ago. And this is the food which is used, which is needed. If we bring another type of food, it is useless. Okay? So Saturn has become our food, and we don't need the food coming from Uranus or Neptune, or even from Jupiter, or even from